I flunked my own lesson summation, point number 3 last week. It was a tough one for me. I flunked it. I fell into a deep sleep. I'm still waking up from it. It was a hard point. It said, your consciousness in this moment is the main determinant of the kind of experience you will have in the future, which means it depends upon where you are right now, which morphogenic field of consciousness you will plug into. For those of you who don't think I'm doing the book anymore, shame on you. It's all about the field of compassion and awakening. And by the way, there's several chapters in the end of the book that we'll be using specifically for the Easter time that are just marvelous, marvelous, marvelous teachings. And forget about the shame on you. Let's let that one be taken out. No shame, no blame, no guilt. Although I have a master's degree in it this week, which I'll tell you about in a few moments. So when we're dealing with the choice that we make, we can plug into the morphogenic field of the kingdom of heaven consciousness, what we call the kingdom of Allah, oneness and wholeness, peace and beauty, which has a certain vibratory frequency, that when you're resonating with it, you feed into and feed out of it. But there's also a field of confusion and chaos and suffering that you can also plug into. Anybody relate to that one? And both of them have energy stored in them. So when you're in the confusion and the fear and the suffering, you're feeding in and out of that field of consciousness. So we talked last week that one of the most important tools for staying connected to the field of awakening, of compassionate awakening, is surrender, spiritual surrender. Feeling the resistance to what is in you and dealing it inside of you before you project it on to other people. And surrender, spiritual surrender, is not about, well, I just don't care anymore. I don't give a darn. That's not spiritual surrender. That's just resistance hiding in the corner of your mind. And let me tell you that no one ever gets quite free of that while you're here. Give it up! You're not going to get free of it. You just become aware of it sooner. And we said on Wednesday night, you asked me to repeat this, it comes from a chapter in Eckhart Tolle's book, where when you're dealing with a difficult life situation, anybody have a difficult life situation you're dealing with? Anybody else? Some of you aren't admitting it. Lovely for you. But you know someone who you can put your hand up for who is. When you're dealing with a difficult situation, there's 3 things that you can do. Don't put your hand up for him. Put your hand up. It's for you. I'm doing this. I'm spiritual. I'm awake. You're the one who's asleep. We all need to put our hand up. We all have some difficulty that we're dealing with or will be dealing with in the future. There's 3 options that you have. You can change it, you can improve it, or you can remove yourself from it. You can change it, you can improve it, or you can remove yourself from it. Those are 3 things that you can do. But they're not just physical things that you can do. They're spiritual principles that you can follow. Rather than concentrating on the 100 things you could have, would have, and should have done, which I do very well, you focus on what can I change in this situation, what can I improve, and how can I remove myself from my own delusion about what this is, or physically remove myself from a difficult, hard situation, if that's what you're called upon to do, to move physically away from it. So I'm on the phone with Maureen. Here comes my example, which is, that's it. My own psychodrama is what you listen to. Otherwise you wouldn't be here, and those who don't want to hear it aren't here. Good. This is someone else's psychodrama. It's my pulpit right now. This is what I do. I've been doing it for 32 years. Yada yada, blah blah blah. Here it goes again. And I'm on the phone with Mo, and it's 6-hour time zone difference. She's in Hawaii, and we're talking on the phone. So she's waking up, I'm going to sleep, I'm going to sleep, she's waking up, kind of hard communicating. We're talking about her back and the back sciatica problem that she's got. And she said it was a doctor who just happened to be in the condo, isn't this amazing, in Hawaii, who happened to be a doctor who knew all about what goes on in the body. I forget what her particular title was, but she was also an acupuncturist. And she goes, I don't know why I brought my needles, it's my vacation, but I did. And she helped her, she worked with her, and she said, as she was working with her, I don't think you have a disc problem, because I wouldn't be able to do this or this with your body if you had a disc problem. It's something else going on with you, and work with her. So it was great. And I was really kind of excited about that news, and I got into my excitement about it and kind of went rambling on, and then I said something in a way that I wished I hadn't said it that way. Anybody ever do that? I said something that I wished I had not said it in that way, and when the words came out of my mouth, I wished I didn't do it. By your words you will be justified. By your words you shall be condemned. And then all of a sudden I'm on the phone with her after I said those few words, and the phone went dead. She hung up on me. And I went, oh, she must really be angry at me. So I did what a good little guilty Jewish boy does. I called back 12 times and left messages. Honey, 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 honey. And no response. Okay, so I wish, what could I do to change this? Not much. Improve it. Well, I'm working on it. Remove myself from it. So I went and I mowed the lawn. She likes when I mow the lawn. 6,000 miles away, I'm mowing the lawn. Maureen likes a good lawn mowing job. Maybe she's forgiving me now. I'm mowing the lawn. An hour later, still not answering my phone. So I went, okay, so now I've gone from, shouldn't have said it, wished I hadn't said it, to, I'm going to send her an email, Ho'oponopono style. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Big, bold, tight. Get it, baby. It's wonderful. And so now she's going to respond, right? Another hour and a half goes by. She did not respond. So now this is what your ego does. I know you. You are me, and I am you. We are the same ego, just doing it different ways. So the next thing I did was, it's really childish that she's not calling me back. How unspiritual is her behavior? Well, I am going to shut my phone off and let her deal with no answering phone. Let's see how she likes it. And so now you know what happened. Now you're hooked in the story. And you're way far away from the wellspring of love. You are journeying off into the far country, eating slop with the pigs at this point. And I knew I was hooked when I went to the bathroom to put on my fish hook. I got a fish hook from Hawaii. Do you see this? Fish hook, yeah. And I put the fish hook on, and I was putting it on like this, and it got stuck in my nose. The fish hook got stuck in my own nose like this. And I'm going, stupid fish hook. That's what I really said and I meant it. Stupid. Now it's the fish hook's fault. It's the stupid fish hook. That's how far I had gone away from the wellspring. It's a stupid fish hook. And then I left, and it was just hilarious. Do you know what I'm talking about? You know when you get hooked, you're hooked now, you're gone, wellspring of love. You wouldn't have want to see me on the street at this point. You really wouldn't. So I'm at the gym, and I'm after the soaking in the hot tub, and I'm thinking, maybe I'm making this whole thing up, and none of this really happened. In that moment, the diksha happened, the blessing happened, the release of resistance happened, flooded out of my being. Maybe I'm making this whole thing up, and this is only a story that I'm telling in my mind. It's not really true. Maybe it didn't happen. The Holy Spirit, the Kundala, the Mana, the Prana, is there and saying, chicken skin, Hawaii style, yeah, brah, oh yeah. You're making this up. And I thought, well, maybe we make everything up. Maybe we've made everything up. That every story we've ever told ourselves since we've left the truth has been nothing but a story that we keep feeding into and feeding out of. The morphogenic field of confusion and pain and suffering. The field of compassion warped into the fire of some ridiculous reaction that's not a true story. In that moment, I began to feel different. The resistance, because I saw it. See, because when you make something that's unconscious conscious, it can't survive in the presence of who you are. In the presence of who you are, it doesn't survive. It's just there, and you go, I fell and got hooked again. You take the hook out, you're not off the hook, you're free. That's called freedom. In that moment, you are free. You are a free being in that moment. And I got it. I felt it at the deepest level of my being. And then I had the thought, I wonder if when Adam walked out of the garden, was beginning his journey out, and God said to him, who told you you were naked? Do you remember that line? You know what that means? That line means? It means, who told you you were separate? Did you eat a bite of that apple I told you not to eat of? Did you do that? If Adam in that moment hadn't gone into a story, well, it's not my fault. Eve did it. No, Eve said the serpent did it. No, it's the Republicans. It's not the Democrats. It's the government. It's the situation of my financial life. It's my body that isn't healthy. It's somebody else's fault. What if Adam had went, I did it. I'm responsible. In that moment, he could have stayed in the garden and expanded it and been a co-creator with God. But that's not what we do. We go off into some silly story because we have to learn from it to consciously come back from it. That's what we do every single day. We have to keep choosing not to keep biting of the apple of separation. Over and over and over and over again. You practice and you go, oh, look what I got caught on. So I'm feeling the release, the tension, the resistance is gone, and so everything's gone. The last 4 hours is gone. I'm back into the awareness of who I am. Put the phone back on, and there's 3 messages from Maureen. Message from God now. Okay. Hi, honey. Messages. Sorry. The phone went dead while we were talking. I plugged it in to charge up. But then Xander needed to go off to Waimea, my grandson, so I left and I never got back to calling you back. And I just checked the email and hope you're having a beautiful day. I love you, can't wait to talk with you. It never happened. I made it up. Have a beautiful day or don't. Enjoy yourself either way. That's what's going to be. Your choice is always right before you. It's that much right here in this moment. And you keep remaking the choice over and over and over again. What if in the moment that I felt separate from the truth, when the phone got hung up on, what if I didn't get hooked on the story and just said, I wonder if there's another version of this that I'm not seeing, and ask God for help. Holy Spirit, divine presence, the higher self. Didn't go off on the usual reactive train. Stupid fishhook. Dumb world, idiotic situation. But stayed with the moment and said, I need help. God would have spoken to me and said, the divine would have said, you're off the hook. You are my beloved, in whom I'm well pleased. I love you with an everlasting love. Nothing is going on, and nothing means what you think it does. It's an illusion, and you're hooked in it again. Allow me to help you be free in this moment. And we do that. You and I get that choice over and over and over again, week after week after week. We look at the resistance in us, and then we do what we have to do. Sometimes you pack up and you move away. You get another job. You say yes, you say no. But you don't get hooked by the same things over and over and over again because you're practicing these teachings. And they're the best teachings I know of to practice you, and they will challenge you. That's why this place is not full. We're not blaming everybody. Anybody. It's not the Democrats. It's not the Republicans. It isn't going to be when we all become Mormons. That isn't going to be it. The truth of it is, it has nothing to do with what's going on outwardly. When we don't deal with the resistance in us, we project it onto others. And we see it happening economically, socially, and politically. We see us blaming others. That's why the resistance takes the form of war on poverty, war on drugs, war on women, warring. And that's still not dealing with it in me. It's your problem. It's your fault. It's them. It's somebody else. It's not anyone's fault. I am dreaming myself separate. I put my hand up and take responsibility for my consciousness, which is the main determinant of which field of energy I will choose to plug into in this moment, and I will take responsibility for that, and God will do the rest. Through me. It'll just happen like a wonderful miracle. So this week, while you're facing those things that hook you, the gift is just to be aware of the resistance before you get into the story, before you label a thing. Adam labeled the thing, that it became for him. Before you do all that, you just ask in that moment, help me to see this differently. I'd like to get the version of my original innocence rather than my guilt, shame, and blame, which I have a master's degree in. Help me now in this moment to see myself as you see me, O beloved, as I truly am, as all beings are. Help me to do that in this moment. And that presence, that divine intention to not walk away from where you are in the moment brings a blessing to you. But it will take a vigilance to practice that, to seek it over and over and over again. So lesson summation on the board, here it is. When you're facing a difficult situation in life, you ask yourself, is there anything I can do to change the situation? Is there anything I can do to improve it or remove myself from it? The change is a change of mind. I can choose once again. That's the change. Improving it is to stay connected to who you are. That will improve the situation. And to remove yourself from it, maybe physically removing yourself from it, but removing yourself from the story that you tell over and over and over. And all your friends know what your stories are. Just ask them. It's never a surprise when you sit with your friends. Am I not right, CJ? Oh, you've been telling that story since I've known you for 33 years. Only you has no clue, you know? The choice is always ours to enter the field of compassion or the field of chaos and confusion. Spiritual surrender allows us to spend more time in the former and less in the latter. I call it a good day. Be aware when the field of compassion is morphing into the fire of reaction. When unconscious reactive patterns are made conscious, loving kindness and laughter are sure to follow. And speaking right from the field of compassion and awakening, Jesus said it this way, blessed are the gentle, those who own resistance in themselves, for they will have the earth as their possession. So I invite you, my friends, when you get hooked this week, or you try to hook somebody else on your story, you see it, you be aware of it, you release it, and you ask for help. The help will be there in whatever form you need. And I'll say the same thing I always say. Practice well. Practice deeply. Not just for yourself, but for the benefit of all beings everywhere. Namaste.